All right, good morning, good afternoon. This is YieldMaxMindset coming to you with Group 1 of YieldMax ETFs along with RoundHill and Kurv for distribution. Some only one or two for the day, some for Wednesday, and most of these will be for Thursday. So let's get to it. Sorry getting this video out late, but doctor's appointments held me up. All right, so these prices vary each month. If you should happen to some You should happen to own some of the above ETF or the below ETFs. Here's a roundabout payout you should receive. Below is what you should get paid out for owning the number of shares multiplied by the price per share. First up is CHPY. Closed yesterday at 59.55. Previously closed at 59.41. Previously paid out 46 cents. Currently paying out, guess what? 46 cents. All right, so had you invested $2,970 into this fund, you would have gotten 50 shares, and 50 shares will get you a payment this week of $22.98. Next, we have FEET. Closed yesterday at $31.93. Previously closed at $32.11. Previously paid out 35 cents, currently paying out 53 cents. So had you invested $3,211 into this fund, that would have gotten you 100 shares. 100 shares would have gotten you a payment of $52.97. Next, we have 5E. Closed yesterday at $37.33. Previously closed at $37.40 and previously paid out 24 cents. Currently paying out 44 cents. So had you invested $18,700 into this fund, that would have gotten you 500 shares, and 500 shares would have gotten you a payment this week of $217.90. Next, we have GPTY. Closed yesterday at $49.01. Previously closed at $48.99. Previously paid out 33 cents. Currently paying out 34 cents. So had you invested $48,990 into this fund, that would have gotten you 1,000 shares. And 1,000 shares would have gotten you a payment this week of $333.60. Next, we got LFGY. Closed yesterday at 35.44. Previously closed at 36.98. Previously paid out 59 cents. Currently paying out 55 cents. So had you invested $73,960 into this fund, that would have gotten you 2,000 shares, and 2,000 shares would have gotten you a payment this week of $1,105. Next, we got QDTY. Closed yesterday at $46.55. Previously closed at $46.19. Previously paid out 27 cents. Currently paying out, guess what? 27 cents. So had you invested $230,950 into this fund, that would have gotten you 5,000 shares. And 5,000 shares would have gotten you a payment this week of $1,342. Next, we have RDTY. Closed yesterday at $43.41. Previously closed at $44.28. Previously paid out 34 cents. Currently paying out 37 cents. So had you invested $442,800 into this fund, that would have gotten you 10,000 shares. And 10,000 shares, of course, would have gotten you a payment this week of $3,739. Next, we have SDTY. Closed yesterday at $46.19. Previously closed at $46.29. Previously paid out 22 cents. Currently paying out 21 cents. So had you invested $2,314.50 into this fund, why, that would have gotten you 500 shares. And of course, 500 shares would have gotten you a payment this week of $10.60. Next, we have SLTY. Closed yesterday at $37.76. Previously closed at $37.41. Previously paid out 62 cents. Currently paying out 54 cents. So had you invested $3,741 into this fund, that would have gotten you 100 shares. And of course, 100 shares would get you a payment of $53.56. Next, we have OT. OT closed yesterday at $4.89. Previously closed at $5.08. Previously paid out 0.0848. Currently paying out 0.0788. Wow, okay. So had you invested $250, excuse me, had you invested $2,540 into this fund, that would have gotten you 500 shares. And of course, 500 shares will get you a payment this week of $39.40. Next, we have YMAG. YMAG closed yesterday at $15.53. Previously closed at $15.51. So previously paid out 14 cents, currently paying out 13 cents. So had you invested $15,510 into this fund, that would have gotten you 1,000 shares. And 1,000 shares will get you a payment of $131.90. Next, we have YMAX. YMAX closed yesterday at $12.06. Previously closed at $12.54. Previously paid 19 cents and currently paying 17 cents. So had you invested $25,080 into this fund, that would have gotten you 2,000 shares. And 2,000 shares would have gotten you a payment this week of $348.60. Next, we have RoundHill Weekly ETF YBTC. Closed yesterday at $38.14. Previously closed at $40.50. Previously paid out 30 cents. Currently paying out 30 cents. All right, so had you invested $202,500 into this fund, that would have gotten you 5,000 shares. And 5,000 shares will get you a payment this week of $1,508.18. Next, we have RoundHill Weekly Yeet. Closed yesterday at $21.36. Previously closed at $24.60. And previously paid out 27 cents. All right. Previously paid out 27 cents. Currently paying out 28 cents. So had you invested $246,000 into this fund, that would have gotten you 10,000 shares, and 10,000 shares to get you a payment of $2,827.23. Next, we have RoundHill Weekly W Pay. Closed yesterday at $54.02. Previously closed at $54.65. Previously paid out 63 cents. Currently paying out 57 cents. So, had you invested $273,250 into this fund, why, that would have gotten you 5,000 shares, and 5,000 shares would have gotten you a payment this week of $2,838.50. All right, next around here weekly, we have wheat. Wheat closed yesterday at $100.06. Previously closed at $100.07. Previously paid out 0.07326. Currently paying out 0.075506. So had you invested $50,035 into this fund, that would have gotten you 500 shares, and 500 shares would have gotten you a payment this week of $37.75. All right. Next, we have Maggie. Maggie paid out yesterday, closed yesterday at $57.54. Previously closed at $56.97, and previously paid out 37 cents. Currently paying out, guess what? 37 cents. So, had you invested $284,850 into this fund, that would have gotten you 5,000 shares, and 5,000 shares would have gotten you a payment this week of $1,862.54. All right, next we have Kurv monthly ETF, TSLP. All right, it pays out today. Closed yesterday at $32.84. Previously paid closed out at $33.39. There we go. Previously closed. We're getting it. All right. So had you invested $16,695 into this fund, that would have gotten you 500 shares, and 500 shares would have gotten you a payment of $250. All right. Kurv KGLD, which is, I'm assuming it's gold, monthly ETF, pays out today. Previously closed yesterday, at $28.68. Previously closed at $28.61. Previously paid out 30 cents, and it is currently paying out 30 cents. So had you invested $143,050 into this fund, That would have gotten you 5,000 shares, and 5,000 shares would have gotten you a payment this week of $1,500. All right, this is YieldMax Mindset saying thank you for dropping by, viewing the content. Please like and share. And hopefully we can get these videos out on time, but due to unforeseen circumstance, we were not able to do so today. All right, God bless you. Let's get this money.